Hello everyone, SadBoi here, and today we're discussing The Long Walk. This is an extended review from the short I published. The movie is based on the novel by Stephen King. The movie was well made, but I do have a few issues with it that I'll get into in a second. The movie starts off quickly, which was appreciated because this plot did not require a lot of setup. We're introduced to our main character, Raymond Garrity. Raymond is the recent winner of a lottery that places contestants in an endurance competition, which involves walking until only one of the 50 representatives from each state is left standing. Disqualification from the competition results in execution. The last person standing gets an undefined fortune and a wish. The movie is just a dwindling group of people walking. So, the experience really comes from the characters' personalities and their conversations. And this is where the movie had its first problem. The characters are ultimately two-dimensional. And this is in part because of the short runtime, which didn't allow for any amazing character development. There is grit and gore in The Long Walk, and some scenes definitely elicit a wince here and there, but for the most part, the experience isn't really that damaging. But apart from the movie falling short in character development and visceral reactions, I really take issue with just how much of a Stephen King story this is. It's a typical King story in the sense of, all the familiar pieces are here. Like many Stephen King stories, it's heavily focused on the concept of friendship to the point where it undercuts the potential. This could have been a much more interesting watch if we got to see more dark elements of humanity come through. Instead, it leaned into the goodness of man, which left me waiting for conflicts that never arose. There is also the classic attempt at humor by Stephen King. He really loves to write jokes in his story, and they're just always awful. Besides from the straight-up bad jokes, the movie attempted some situational humor which fell flat. It had bad Marvel energy and did not fit the general tone of the movie at all. Another classic Stephen King trope, and probably the most offensive thing about this story, is his use of the magical Negro. I understand that using that word may be offensive, but that is the name of the character type, and it is one that King has used in at least 7 of his stories that I am aware of, although I wouldn't be shocked to learn there's more. This trope involves having a black character making a significant impact on a white character through either magical powers or some profound wisdom. Their friendship is normally immediate and built off the unique importance of this character's traits, and it just feels so dated and racist. To me, this trope implies that the friendship between a white person and black person is less organic and requires some sort of service to the white character. I'm tired of seeing it, and it feels like King has the same idea recycled over and over throughout his works. Overall, as a writer, he just seems to write a lot, but he doesn't necessarily write well. And this is where my biggest issue with this movie comes into play. The story is outright stupid. As I already said, the whole walk is a competition to win money, which is dumb, but fine. I guess you can imagine that story showing up somewhere like Black Mirror or Twilight Zone. But this movie has the same flaw as The Purge. In this world, the US is in economic shambles. There was a great war that resulted in America going broke. To boost morale across the nation, the government tried doing a long walk to inspire hope with the promise of riches. The surprising outcome was that afterwards, the national GDP skyrocketed. Each year now, the GDP goes up after the long walk. So, the government is primarily motivated to do this to boost the country's economy, which is so dumb when you think about it, because why couldn't the government just take the billions of dollars it's sinking into this competition to do things like fund education and production? They could easily fund businesses, farms, factories, and educational institutions instead of making a single person absurdly wealthy each year and using funds to grant a wish. I can't stress enough how much they build up the value of this prize. We understand that this is an amount of money that the person can literally change the world with. Much like The Purge, it's impossible for a reasonable person to ever believe this could happen. This inability to believe it ruins the fear, because you're just left very aware that it's a juvenile story at best. This idea might seem cool to young audiences, but I can't understand how this concept resonates with anyone that thinks about it critically for even a minute. So, despite the movie being well shot and having some moments that were entertaining, these flaws really bring down the whole experience. Because of this, I'm giving The Long Walk a 2.5 out of 5. If you enjoy this, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.